My name is Scott Ruger. I'm part of an ATF task force based in Philadelphia. It was a cold October night around 9 p.m. The year is 2009. I just got a call that we have to do a no-knock warrant on a house in the middle of nowhere, Appalachian, Pennsylvania, on charges of possessing illegal machine guns. I get in my car and start heading to the station. It's around 10ish now. I just got done with the debrief and what we have to do. I gear up and hop in the Bearcat. The place we're going is near Knoxon, which is filled with nothing but rednecks and hillbillies. The guy we're after is named Mud McWall, and is a Vietnam vet, which has a confirmed kill count of 5. When I do search warrants, I'm usually not nervous, but this one had me a little worried, because you never know whether A, this guy's going peacefully, or B, he's going to go batshit insane. And this guy strikes me as the type to choose option B. We finally start driving down this long dirt road. Now, mind you, me and my buddies are in the Bearcat, which is in the middle of 2 Chevy Suburbans, both front and back, and 1 Ford Crown Vic, also front and back. So in total, 34 highly skilled agents. We got told that the ETA is 2 minutes. We load our M4s, and my other buddy, Zach, is the only one to have a Remington 870, which is a shotgun. Zach is my best friend. He's more like brother to me than anything. I've known him since I was 3. I look at him and say, "You ready to rock?" And he's responded with, "I was born ready." We come around the bend to what I say wasn't even a house. It looked more like Jason's shack in Friday the 13th Part 2. I go, "What the fuck?" It looked like there's nobody there. I radio to our head guy, "Are you sure we're at the place?" And he says, "This is the place." We get out and start searching for this guy. Everybody started splitting into 2 pairs. Zach and I were told to search the left side of the shack. There was a group of 4 that was clearing the house. Anyway, we start looking. There was at least 20 old cars rotting. I'm using my flashlight on my rifle and Zach was using his shotgun, but there was one car that stood out. A rotted out and rusted out 1962 Cadillac Fleetwood limo, which was the redneck special. We searched it, and there was something I didn't even expect. A body. It was mutilated. The limbs looked like they were chopped off, including the head. I couldn't even tell what gender it was. There was a hole in the chest as if it was ripped out by hands. It made me so sick to the point that I puked. I couldn't even describe the smell, but before I could say anything, the Bearcat exploded. Both the Suburbans were lit on fire. I turned around, and that's when I heard what sounded like a banjo playing, very slowly, in the same riff. I turned to my left, and that's when I saw the biggest, most inbred redneck ever. Now, mind you, I'm 6 foot, 170-pound guy. This guy had to be at least 6'9" and 400 pounds of pure muscle. I said, "Put your hands up," and that's when all hell broke out. It sounded like an active war zone. Explosions, multiple shots from machine guns. We were the only ones armed with semi-auto rifles. Zach shot the first guy we saw, but the 12 gauge didn't even affect him. He started running. Zach shot again. No effect. He shot another time. This time, aiming at his leg, which only dropped him, but he was still crawling and screaming. And the flashlight made him look like one of those monsters from Evil Dead. In fact, none of these hillbilly fucks looked human. They all looked dead. They all looked like they drank blood, but not vampires. The closest I can describe it is that they look like monsters off the first 3 Cannibal Corpse albums. That's when I saw the smaller, tweaker-looking kind of guy starting to eat one of the other agents. That cleared the house and ran back outside. I put 2 rounds in his back, but the fucker didn't even flinch. He just kept eating this guy alive. I look over at Zach, and he's just shooting whatever's near the house that isn't one of our agents. Then That's when I see a fucking tree branch go right through his head. The first guy we saw got up and stabbed him. I forgot that fucker was still alive. The more that I saw of its face, it kind of looked like Jason Voorhees' face in Part 7 meets Hills Have Eyes. I put 3 rounds to his chest, 1 in his head, and that's when he dropped dead. I turned back around to see one of these hillbillies wielding an M16 and shooting fully automatic. I see him shoot and kill 2 of my agents. I see another one of my agents being burned alive from the cars and then beaten with a hammer. It looked as if it was hell on earth. I got up and started running, and then out of nowhere I heard someone yell in front of me, "Where are you going, City Slicker?" I dropped to the ground because of the pain I felt, and when I looked at my kneecap there was a bolt from a crossbow. Then I looked in front of me to see another one of those huge hillbillies, but not as tall and not as muscular. I pulled out my Glock 9mm and unloaded 5 rounds into his stomach. It didn't matter though. He didn't stop running. My Glock stove popped. It was too late. Everything went black. I think I was in the basement of the shack. I looked to my left to see my captain being skinned alive and Zach's corpse being eaten. It looked like Pig's Destroyer's Prowler in the yard. Album meets Hellraiser. One of my agents was getting scalped. I felt lightheaded, and my blood was being dripped out of my leg and into a bucket, which I don't even want to know what it was being used for. The guy that was skinning my captain and the other that was scalping my agent both went upstairs. I saw this as a chance to run. I undid myself from the doctor's table, and I saw the cellar door. I barged right through it. I looked around to the front. All the cars were burned. And then I saw the Cadillac limousine. I opened the door and the keys were in the ignition. I slammed the door, locked it, and tried turning it on, but it wouldn't budge. I tried 2 more times, and it finally started just as soon as these hillbillies started running out of the cellar door. One was holding a M14, the other a baseball bat. Words can't even describe how relieved and thankful I was for surviving. I looked down at my watch. It was 3:30 a.m. I didn't find Mud McCall. I don't think it mattered though. I went to the nearest hospital. I said everything. 2 days later in the hospital bed, I'm watching the news. I was the only one who survived, but nobody could find who committed the massacre.